It's been a while, but guys, I'm back with another video. You all know that we are in the World Cup season. So the World Cup started on 11 June 2026, and games are still ongoing. The first game was between Mexico and then South Africa. The game ended on a 2-0 comfortable win for the Mexicans in their opening game. So the group stages are still ongoing. Teams and countries are playing matches day in, day out. But if you find yourselves on the continent of Africa, especially West Africa, most of the games are being played midnight, GMT. And so all of us in Africa who uses the Greenwich Meridian time, most of the games are being played at midnight, 9 p.m., 11 p.m., 2 a.m., 1 a.m., 4 a.m. And so if you don't have the passion or love for football, I don't think you are going to enjoy this World Cup at all. Looking at the times that most of the matches are being played, if you don't have passion or if you don't love football or soccer, you won't wake up at midnight to go and watch football. It is only for the football lovers that we will be we'll be on our bed every night watching most of the games. And so this is the punch hour. My name is Jinra. If today happens to be your first time here, click on the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. Leave us a comment, share this video, and also put us on post notification by clicking on the notification icon. In as much as the World Cup is happening, clubs are also doing their transfers. Coaches are going to different clubs. Players are moving from one club to the other. I've gathered some of the transfers that have happened within the summer transfer window that was recently opened, and then I'm here to break everything down to you. I will also talk about some of the things that has happened in this year's World Cup, which is happening in Mexico, USA, and then Canada. But before I go on to that, let me talk about Pani Bakes. Pani Bakes. And so if you want birthday and wedding cakes, if you want someone who can do a nice birthday or nice wedding cake for you, kindly contact Pani Bakes. That is a flyer. You can take her contact, you call her, you place your order. She is one of the best in Accra. She also does cupcakes in a variety of flavors. She does bread and pastries, all other pastries that you need. Kindly contact Pani Bakes. You can order for your girlfriends, your wives, your husbands, family, any kind of occasion at all. It is Pani Bakes that you need to call. And she has discount for first timers. If it happens to be that you are calling her for your first order, she has an amazing discount for you. So call her or can WhatsApp her on 0243 657 495. 0243 657 495. That is Pani Bakes for you. Now let's get straight into the issues. You will start off with one issue that became very huge on the internet was the Somalian referee who was denied entry into America upon his arrival. This man has been selected by FIFA for this year's World Cup, but the man got to America. He got to the airport. They detained him for like 11 hours, according to him. They asked him several questions. They interrogated him for several hours when he arrived at the airport. But the US immigration officers eventually concluded that he is not supposed to be in the country. And so they sent him back to his home country, Somalia. And so his name is Omar Atan. He won the best referee on the continent of Africa last season or in the just ended season. He officiated the CAF Champions League final. He is one of the top referees on the continent of Africa. He has officiated several matches. He is from Somalia. Now, we all know that Somalia is on the red list of, or I think the travel ban, the number of countries who cannot travel to the states. Somalia is part of them. And so it will be difficult for you to travel from Somalia to United States due to security reasons. And so when he got to the airport, according to him, the US immigration officers concluded that he is part of a certain group of people, a certain group of notorious people who does, crazy stuff and, some bad things. And so because of that, they denied him entry to go and officiate in the World Cup. He was selected by FIFA to come and officiate at the World Cup, but the US embassy denied him entry upon his arrival at the airport. But right after that incident happened, I think few days after he was sent back to his country, UEFA has also appointed him to go and officiate this year's UEFA Super Cup finals, which will happen somewhere in August between Paris Saint-Germain, the winners of the Champions League, and Aston Villa, the winners of the Europa League. And so if one door closes, another one will eventually open. And that is the story of Omar Atan, who's when the door for him to officiate at the biggest stage, that is the World Cup, when that door closed, another door has opened for him to go and officiate at the UEFA Super Cup finals. And so if he goes and he delivers, I'm sure he's going to get more gigs from UEFA. Maybe FIFA might not, maybe they might invite him to different competitions which will not be hosted in America. But after that incident, people were asking that, is FIFA going to pay him all the monies that he is due to receive if he had officiated at the World Cup? Is FIFA going to pay him all that amount? Per my information and my checks, FIFA is going to pay him every amount that is due him, because it wasn't his fault that he couldn't enter into the state to go and officiate. It was the US embassy or the US immigration officers who said they are not going to allow him. And so every money that he was supposed to get from FIFA, my information tells me that he's going to get those monies, which will be around $100,000. That is the info from Omar Atan, the Somalian referee who was denied entry into the United States. One issue which was also, or which has something to do with people getting denied into some of these countries who are hosting the World Cup is Thomas Partey, my own fellow Ghanaian. Thomas Partey was also denied entry into Canada. Black Stars will be playing their first game against Panama in Canada on 17th June. So the players are moving. I think even for Thomas Partey, he didn't even get to the Canadian airport for them to say they will not allow him enter. They denied him the visa. He didn't even get the visa to even go and board the plane to Canada. And all this is because of his ongoing legal battle in court in the United Kingdom. You all know that there have been some allegations that have been leveled against Partey for sexual abuse and other kind of things. And so because of that, the Canadian embassy refused Partey his visa, and FIFA has confirmed that news. They confirmed that there's nothing that they can do about it at this point. Though Partey has access to the state and Mexico, but he doesn't have access to Canada. And so if eventually the Black Stars qualifies to the next stage of the competition, Black Stars will play their first two knockout games in Canada. And so if that happens, Partey will not be able to play any of those games. But after our first game against Panama in Canada, England, that game he will be able to take part in that particular game. There are several issues. Fans from Senegal and I think Cote d'Ivoire were all not given their visas by the US embassy to go and support their various countries. And so this World Cup has so many issues, visa issues, entry issues, like a whole lot of issues that is happening in this year's World Cup. And so that is some of the news that happen. Now let's talk about some of the matches that has taken place so far. The biggest wins has been Germany beating Curacao by 7 goals to 1. That was the first time that this is the first ever World Cup appearance for Curacao, and they lost their first game. Unfortunately, they met one of the giants in world football, Germany. They lost by 7 goals to 1, but they were able to score their first ever World Cup goal. And then Sweden also beating Tunisia by 5 goals to 1 last night. So that is some of the biggest wins that we have recorded so far. In the first game that Mexico played against South Africa, there were 3 red cards in that particular game. Meanwhile, in the last World Cup, that was the 2022 World Cup, which was played in Qatar, the entire tournament produced only 4 red cards. We've done a few games in this year's World Cup, but already we have 3 red cards that have been recorded in this tournament. And so it's very, weird Talking about Tunisia losing to Sweden by 5 goals to 1, they've just sacked their head coach this morning in the person of Sabiri Lamochi, who happens to be their head coach. They've sacked him or no or bought World Cup or US. And so, Yapamono, yes, the man has been sacked by the Tunisian FA. And so, some of the things that happen in World Cup, and so, very, very amazing. So far, we are yet to watch Portugal's game and then Argentina's game as well. And Brazil also played Morocco. It was a beautiful game, very, very beautiful game that ended 1-1. Brazil has never lost an opening game in a World Cup for, I think, for about in 23 games. They've never lost an opening game at the World Cup. They played 1-1. Vinicius Junior was on the score sheet, and then Ismail Sabiri was also on the score sheet. And one boy who was also playing, who played so well in that game is an 18 years old boy, Ayub Bouadi, who plays for Lille Metropole in the French league. He did amazing in that particular game. That teams have started knocking on his door for his signature and all of that. Vinicius Junior has 2 World Cup goals. He has equaled Ronaldinho's record, the same number of World Cup goals. Ronaldinho Gaucho also scored 2 goals at the World Cup. Vinicius Junior also has 2 goals at the World Cup after he scored that brilliant goal against Morocco in their opening game. And so, as I said, the World Cup is still ongoing. It is we are in the early days yet. So as and when, I'll be bringing you guys an update on all the major things that will be taking place. So as I mentioned, clubs are doing signings. We all thought Bernardo Silva was joining Barcelona, but Florentino Perez, after he won the election, he has made, I think, now 4 major signings. After he signed Ibrahim Konate for free, he also signed Denzel Dumfries from Inter. He has signed Bernardo Silva from Manchester City. He has also signed for Real Madrid. And then last night, they concluded the deal for Marc Cucurella, who is joining Real Madrid on a 6 year deal for transfer fee of 55 million euros plus 5 million in add-ons. So Cucurella is joining Real Madrid in this summer. He has signed his contract. Everything is done. So Florentino Perez has done 4 major signings. Ruben Amorim, who was sacked by Manchester United during the season, has also joined AC Milan as their new head coach. Everything has been agreed. It will be a 3 years contract until 2029. Everything is in place for him to join. Ismail Sabir, the Moroccan international, has also joined Bayern Munich. He is also joining Bayern Munich from PSV Eindhoven for a fee of 55 million euros. So the transfers are also happening. Alvaro Arbeloa is also joining Fulham on a 4 year contract as well. And so things are happening whilst the World Cup is also ongoing. And so I decided to bring you guys an update on some of the major events that is happening in this year's World Cup and in the summer transfer window. My name is General. Subscribe, share, put out some post notification, and also leave a comment under the session. But don't forget to like and comment under this video as well. I'll see you in our next episode. I'm out.